But as you address these needs, the message changed in a lot of cases, and that's just in the perspective of hip hop. You know what I mean? But I think that just to your point of gangbanging and the Black Panther connection, you know, a lack of resource, we in survival mode. And in survival mode, it's rather you than me, and it's not personal.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Many people wonder if there's a secret to winning lottery games. The answer is yes, winners only lotto. Discover how to make $1,000, $10,000, or even $225,000 daily by playing the right games with the highest odds. The games to focus on are Pick 3, Pick 4, and in some states, Pick 5. Utilizing AI to track patterns in these games simplifies winning, with millions being distributed every day. This information can be easily verified on any official state lottery website. Join today or get more information by clicking the link below. See you on the winning side.
All right, so Val, let's talk about our next topic.
Hey, anybody y'all heard of this dude named Maslow? He made a thing called the pyramid of human needs, right? Mm-hmm. And so
I've seen that, but I didn't know who made it.
Okay, so at the base of human needs is our physiological needs: food, clothing, shelter. We don't want to be wet. We don't want to be hot. We don't want to be cold. That's at the base of comfort. You know, just being able to be fed. You know, the basic survival. And there's other needs that come above that. But if you can't address these, the basic,
everything's off.
All that other shit don't count. And it's come to resources. You know what I'm saying? It's where you get a different person once you get past this first level.
That's why that's the fundamental misunderstanding with people on the right, who, when you're talking about Black Lives Matter, they want to talk about black on black crime instead.
Right.
That's the fundamental misunderstanding, is they don't understand that those bottom needs aren't being met. Period. So everything's out the window.
100%. And you can't, it's a level of, you know, the way you perceive the world is limited based on the needs that you have being met. If your base needs being met, look at the trajectory of an artist and they narrative as they become more successful. They start addressing things different. You know what I mean? You start to see, it might have been the most hardcore artist at the beginning of the career, but as you address these needs, the message changed in a lot of cases, and that's just in the perspective of hip hop. You know what I mean? But I think that just to your point of gangbanging and the Black Panther connection, you know, a lack of resource, we in survival mode, and in survival mode, it's rather you than me. And it's not personal, and we all kind of understand that. That's why we don't. It's become, yeah, niggas die. That's how this shit go. Not because we like it or we embrace that, because we understand. I understand your point of view, bro. I get it. I know you're going through the same shit I'm going through. It ain't personal, but
and you gonna kill me if I don't get to you first.
Yeah, and about some chili, you gonna go to any extent to feed them babies. I get it, as well as I am, homie. So may the best man win, and it's, you know, but that's a survival perspective. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's interesting for understanding, you know, that we clear that you can't necessarily come to too many conclusions about a person's moral foundation because they in survival mode.
You know, when I first saw that clip with rest in peace, Nipsey, it clearly said things that I have been thinking in my mind. Because you can't really judge anybody when it comes. So I don't think, you know, most of the time we're not deep in the hood and understanding, you know, the black on black crime. That's what they at least want to call it. You know, I call it proximity or vicinity because you're in that area. But if you're in that area and you don't have your basic needs met, your character is hard to judge. You can't judge it because you're hungry and you fighting. You know, I know people say, well, you don't have to, you know, to kill. You don't have to commit crimes. You don't have to. I don't think, you know, if you ever been on zero and you've been living that way for a long time, meaning that your income is so low and you don't have money coming in and you're already angry and frustrated, you're going to turn to the first person that you see and you're going to wind up, you know, fighting or killing those people in that area because of the struggle that you're going through, the frustration that you're going through. I don't think a lot of people has lived with that kind of life, living that kind of life. People say it, but to live, where you just get broke and you don't have anything, your frustration level is way up here. That's why he says once you start making money, a lot of times you see their whole life change, but nobody talks about that. What about that?
And of course, I agree with what Nipsey was saying. I lived in the hood of Atlanta for a few years, for I want to say many years, but a few years. And I was I didn't really understand the neighborhood that I lived in, right? Until I was like, gunshots all the time, and people, there's like a little baby gang out there. And to look out the window and see these children from the age of like 1 to 13 harassing and beating adults up, it's literally a jungle. So it's a jungle out there.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. I'm thinking until we address the incomes, that's the challenge that, the jobs in that area and the incomes in that area, you can't just sit there and just, say that people are just animals. And I mean, you're fighting to survive. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's addressing that. That's why I always say we need the reparations for sure. Now, some people will blow the money as soon as they get it, but still, you go to different areas and like you said, you can just do the trajectory of people once they start making more money. They put down the guns. They're not even doing those kind of things anymore. Right. But when you're trying to live and you're frustrated and you're in an area where everybody's like that, and you're going to wind up, it ain't like you attacking a brother because he's black. You're just doing that because that's the area you're in. They're not going to drive across town to shoot a white man, because if a white guy lived next door to them, they would be the one that take out the frustration on. So I think it's more proximity or vicinity that these crimes are being committed, and a lot of it has to do with, like he said, the Maslow. It's like until you get your basic needs met, food, shelter, and things like that. It's people who don't think folks live that way. You really don't. When you see folks, you show them on the news, you really don't think that they don't have anything in their house to eat. You know what I'm saying? You really think, well, why are they acting like that? But when you have nothing and your frustration level, you don't have the job, the first thing people say, well, go get a job.
And so, I feel like, yes, the job, but even more important than a job is the education. Because you can have a job, you can bring in the money, but if you don't have the expertise or the knowledge of what to do with that money, it does not matter. You are going to just buy more things that's going to put you in a hole. So yes, jobs, but more so education and educating the people. And I mentioned like that baby gang outside the window when I lived in the West End, and I was straight in Pittsburgh, right? I actually moved right before COVID because I was like, oh my God. Once COVID hit, I was like, I got to get out of here because it's about to be like war for real out here.
Right.
And it was crazy. But the baby gang, there were no parents out there. They weren't really in school. The kids would go to school hungry. They'd eat at school, and they can't even focus at school because their basic needs are not being met. So it starts from very, very young, not just when they become adults. It starts almost at birth. They're born into a crazy situation.
And it's not talked about, like you said. All they just say is black on black crime, but why?
Mindset.
Well, so here's my take on that. So first of all, our culture has been in survival mode since colonizers brought us over here.
Yes.
So that's just where the mindset has been since the 1600s. And even when we did come slightly up out of that and tried to build our own communities, here comes again. Nope. We're putting y'all back in survival mode. So that's just where our mentality has been for so long. And it still is. And like you said, even in that proximity of survival mode, that's just where we have stayed. And it seems like we're always infiltrated in, no, you got to stay that way, as if we can never get out. And as she was saying, that education isn't there. to teach us, no, you don't have to be like this. We don't have to be in survival mode all the time. This is how you use your finances. This is how you can gain that physiological needs from that pyramid. Our culture can do that just the same as any other culture can do that. But we've just been in this mode for so long, we don't really know how to get out of it. And even when, as Nipsey was saying, to go back to the clip, he even stated that, gangs were started to build up the community. It wasn't war. That's not how gangs were started. It wasn't, Bloods and Crips are going to start shooting each other. No, they started to build up the community. They formed gangs to teach the young people how to come up out of those communities. But no, won't say who said, we got to keep that culture in that box and controlled in that survival mode.
Mm-hmm. But what's the answer? What do you say, Dana? What do you say? What's the answer to that? If crime is being committed, we got to stop all this killing. We got to stop. Okay. The point that he's making is that until we have money to take care of our basic needs, it's going to be wild, wild west.
I think that that all ties in. It might not make sense at first, but to me, it ties into voting.
Okay.
Because systematically, we have been set back by the media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in all parts of the world. They only show the bad news about us.
That is facts.
So we are constantly being, stereotyped?
Right.
Stereotyped by not only the United States, but everywhere we go throughout the world.
That's true.
And that's put out by the media. So my thing is, like all the news that's put out, is the media is the fourth judicial branch of the government, basically.
Right.
And we control that when we vote.
So you're saying if we vote, and so we're going to elect who keep the media from posting or showing things like that. Who's going to do that? How are you going to stop that? Because I always said that the first 15 minutes of the news is always showing us in the hood shooting somebody or killing somebody. They're going to show that. They don't show. I'm telling you something funny. My mother, she watches these crime, shows.
First 48, all of that stuff.
All this, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why she says that. She says, it's crazy. She said, because you see the white guys and they killing their family, they killing the doctors and they don't show that on the news. She said, so
that answers my question. That makes my point.
Right.
They're only going to show you what they want to show you. Right. And then in most cases, it's got to do with crime or something that we're being judged on.
Right.
So if you vote for the judges that are being put in those positions,
I have a different take on it by working in it. And are there things that work against the African American community? Of course there is. But I take it a step deeper. It's spiritual. The poor will always be amongst us. And that statement is biblical. It doesn't mean monetary wise. It means mental wise. So if you can't elevate your mind from looking outside of the things good that you can see in the media and want and desire those things and do things that will require you to uplift yourself out of it, it's just going to continue to perpetuate itself with the crime and the violence and so on and so forth. I gave the media this nickname. News to me stands for negative energy with spin. So every media outlet has a narrative, and the main narrative is to make money. So even if we look at that from a pharmaceutical side, so to me, voting is not going to cure it, because you could put whoever we want. We thought Obama was the best thing that was going to help, the African American community. He comes out and everybody's saying, oh, well, what did he do? So voting is just a small part of it. It really starts in the mind. I got a young man. He lives in Kenya. He's one of my programmers. He grew up with, I mean, absolutely nothing. Out of playing video games all day, smoking, chiefing, and to whoever want to do that, that's their choice. But instead, he took the time out to read, learn, want, and desire other things. So it has to start with the mental psyche that we're not producing in our own communities, our own homes, circulating our own money back into our own neighborhoods, and it can start with just picking up paper. To me, that's a positive mindset that doesn't require anything other than some group leaders once a week going out into the community and picking up paper and then supporting Miss Williams' restaurant and Mrs. Williams sustaining Alex tire shop. We got to get back to the basics and stop worrying about what they are doing or not doing for us. We just simply got to do it for ourselves. Point blank, period. So that's the yin and the yang, hot, cold, rich, poor, up, down, left, right. That's the yin and the yang.
Now, I'm gonna say to you, that sounds good. That's almost like you almost sound like a Republican. I'll put it that way. So, but I mean, I'm not saying, and I understand that because I'm the guy that's always talking mindset and mental toughness and it. But I also know that the media controls the mind. And the problem is, the challenge is, you got kids that are being babysit. They're sitting at home all day watching the news and the movies and the phone and all of that because the parents may be working another job or something. So they can't, you're trying to, what you're saying is these people should have common sense. The parents should be, they should be parenting.
Well, yeah, it requires parenting. Yeah.
Right.
It starts in the home.
Yeah.
I mean,
but a parent can't be, not to cut you off, a parent can only parent what they have been taught.
Correct.
Exactly.
So if a parent doesn't know anything else besides put my baby in front of the television while I'm able to get this done and get this done, or pretty much, or throw a iPad in front of them while I get this, then what now? So who's going to tell that parent how to parent? So you can't just necessarily say, well, you got to be smarter than that. Oh, you got to be a little quicker than that. You can't give that.
We can say that. We just got to do it. So that's the difference between saying it and doing it and actually implementing it in the home. I didn't grow up rich. I didn't grow up necessarily poor. Mm-hmm. But we would all of us, I can tell we was raised with standards and morals and values. We knew growing up what was basically right and wrong. I never went out and robbed anybody or shot anybody or killed anybody or so on and so forth. And of course, I saw things on television that I wanted as well, just as like any other kid. So to me, we still got to get to a point where we have to stop making excuses about what the outside entity is doing against us and start about what we're doing within
you just always got to be aware of the outside entity and what they're doing.
At this day and age, we all have access to the internet. We know what's being done. It's being publicized. And it's just in my opinion.
But look, I'm agreeing with you. But how do you do that? It's easy for us to sit here and say that. How do you? And the only way you could do that, Rodney, is a person has to hear certain things over and over and over for them to change. Where are they going to hear that consistently? They're not going to hear it in their house because what you're saying is the parents has.
Oh, you're trying to say in our school system, there's not any good teachers at all saying, "Hey, little Alex."
Well, no. I'm not saying
let him
it's not.
Let him finish.
Let
Alex was going to say.
Because I got something for that. Please
I want to hear what little Alex is going to say.
Right. You can't tell me that there's not a teacher in any of our communities that's trying to instill, learning, going to school, doing good things, and so on and so forth. It has to exist. I just don't believe that is non-existence.
I'm not saying it's not. And my point is this. What controls the mind is what controls the person. It's like this. I talk about this all the time. I do a live training session. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say you come on my training session and I tell you all the things you need to do, right?
Right.
But watch this. When you get off of my training session,
right, you got to implement it. You got to do it.
People, whatever controls your mind the most is what controls you. See, that person would have to get off the train or stop listening. I mean, listen to that little teacher at school, and then they would have to go home, tell all their parents and family, shut the hell up, don't talk to me. Then they would have to cut off everything at home. They can't watch nothing. They can't watch, because whatever feeds them the most is going to control them. It can't be that one little teacher at the school telling them that.
I'm just using that as an example. That
right, I understand that, but I'm saying it has to be
a minister or Mr. Joe down the street.
Here's the answer right here. You remember back in the day, it was the community.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We got to get
it ain't like that. I'm asking you, how do you go back to that? You can't just say it. I mean, how do we go back to it?
So even now with the internet, let's be honest, we can find just as much good stuff as we want to, if we want to find it, if we want to find looking for the bad stuff. We know all about the algorithms and all of this stuff that helps control the media, the TV, and so on and so forth. That's a fact. That's a given. But like Naji, am I pronouncing your name Maji?
Maji.
Maji. Okay, I heard you say you're an artist.
Yes.
Okay. Within her spirit, her artistry is what's driving her to either sing, write, produce, promote. I don't know, whatever that is, that hidden desire that she has, and she probably has that desire so much so till she probably get off of a job and still go record.
Right, definitely.
And record all night. I've seen. You remember Tate at my office? That kid. When you want something bad enough, that kid used to walk about 6 or 7 miles after he gotten off Long John Silver's, coming into my office smelling like 5 pounds of funky fish because he done walked in 90-degree weather, but he wanted it. He wanted it. So at some point, we have to stop making excuses about what the outside entity is doing to us and say what we're wanting from within.
Hold on,
that's not everybody.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
Very rare cases.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention
about poverty, though.
Not to mention those people were adults. I'm pretty sure. What's his name? Tay? What was his name?
Roach. I called him the Roach.
How old was he?
Probably about 2021.
20s. He was in his 20s.
Right.
Younger than that. Because that's where you should really catch a kid.
Exactly.
Younger. That's not what they don't care about that. My daughter is a phenomenal singer. She get voice lessons, piano. She's 11 years old. She don't care nothing about none of that. That's her talent.
She don't care about what?
Really she does not care about when I come home from school, let me go ahead and practice and better my skills. Knowing that's what she needs to do, she'd rather be on this thing all day, every day.
What is she doing?
If I don't take it from her, she won't do it. But when she goes on there,
you just said what I'm talking about.
But that's what we're saying. Your environment, their environment now, what they're learning now, what's around them now is all of this YouTube, TikTok, all of this social media and all these apps. And even me, with my mentor being Tony, the mental toughness king, I try to teach her that stuff. Right. And yes, it's in there. But as a child, right now, as a child, her biggest influence, this thing right here.
I get it.
So that's.
I mean, we're not the problem. With you, Rodney. We're saying that whoever controls the media controls the mind. So what I'm saying is, what you're saying is, what you're saying.
Well,
I agree, and I agree. I agree with that.
It's easy to say that.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's just hard.
What you're saying is, no, what I'm saying is this: what you want to happen needs to be heard 1,000,000 times.
Who's going to do that? That's saying it. There's people out there that's saying it.
Huh?
There's a lot of people out there that's saying it. 50
saying what?
Huh?
Saying what?
About uplifting our own communities and stop worrying about what everybody else.
Okay, but who says it the most? If they're saying it, like I said, whatever says the most, like you get 2%, and then 98% is saying something totally different. That's the challenge. You know what I'm saying? That's what I see every day.
So let me ask you then, what should we do then?
I don't know. That's what I asked you. You're saying
I gave you my opinion.
I have a
to start at
suggestion,
the
guys.
home.
I have a suggestion. So there are different organizations out there right now that are doing these very things that we're speaking of. They may not be well promoted. A lot of people may not know of them, but I do know of there's one called the Save Institute, and it's they're mainly out of East Atlanta, and it's a group of men who gather boys from the community, and they help these boys. The boys are coming together to do service, and they're teaching them different life skills. And so these leaders or these just regular men are taking the initiative to embrace the young men, little boys. I mean, probably from the age of like 5 years old up to graduating high school. So I think what one of the answers could be is really just teaming up with the organizations that are already out there, because people are doing that. They're just doing it on a smaller level. And just really teaming up to be more manpower. So if you have the desire to do it, you could even just this, asking like, hey, what do I do? You could reach out to Save or whatever other organizations that are here in Atlanta and just become a part of it and just do your part, really, because this is a nice start, but there's a lot of work to be done. And there are people that are out there with their boots on the ground that are actually doing it.
And that's my point. I know there are people in our own communities that are trying to help our youth.
Yeah.
We just gotta drive some of that traffic to those different organizations.
I think they are. I think we are doing that, but I'm just saying that that's like this.
But that's going always.
You got to start somewhere.
That's right.
Well, I'm not saying. I think we've always started that way. I agree with that.
But that goes back to what I was saying. The poor-minded is going to always be with us. It's just a fact. Just like hot and cold. That's the.
Now you have my answer. Then I've always said that. What you just said.
Right.
I've always said that the crime is always going to be here.
Exactly. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to. Every kid ain't going to be saved.
But so now we got the answer. There's the answer, because people are always saying we got to stop this black on black.
It ain't going to stop.
You can't stop it.
Right. It Cain killed Abel. That's the story, right?
Okay.
But I think the thing for me now, and I feel myself getting a little heated from this conversation, but especially talking to Rodney. But I think that it shouldn't be so broadcast, because of course we know fighting is not going anywhere. It's been here since the dinosaurs.
Right.
But the main focus that Dana was saying is the media is always broadcasting black on black crime.
Well, I get that.
White people kill each other. Jewish people kill each other. Hispanic people kill each other. Everybody is killing each other. It shouldn't be happening, but it's happening. Right. It's just so generalized and so stereotypical for black people to be killing each other, and that's the problem.
So Dana, you feel like if we vote in the right people, then they can control what the media puts out? Because I don't, because they're gonna always do that, right? They've been doing that for years.
If they voted the right people in office, then they would give correct judgments. You wouldn't have black men in jail for 27, 30 years for something that they didn't do.
Right.
Get out 3 years later, get killed by a cop.
I got you.
So if you vote the right people to be in those judges positions, then they would put forth judgments that wouldn't put so many of us in jail for crimes that we didn't commit.
I got you.
Well, that's our youth.
Pardon?
Are we talking about adults, or are we talking about our youth?
Our community, period.
Black man.
Our community,
period. Man, I get it. I get it.
You can go back to Emmett Till.
I just want to say one thing to that. Even though this is not necessarily the focus of our topic, but I have a brother that has been in prison for the past 21 years, right, out in California. the whole situation is extremely political and a major injustice. We've paid off attorneys in full. And for whatever this bigger reason, there's something else going on that attorneys are just disappearing. Like when I tell you the attorney will take the money, yeah, I got it. I could do this case, da 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 da. And then just like fall off the face of the earth and just disappear. There's like a code. There's something bigger going on. So I think that you can vote people in, but you can't vote away hate. You can't vote away. It goes deeper.
That's what I was saying. Not to interrupt you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Hate, you can't have love if you don't have hate.
Yeah.
You can't have hate without love. You have to have the yin and the yang. So what we're talking about is the balance that's more spiritual, like you're saying.
Right. You can't regulate that.
That's a part that we didn't even create. How can there even be a hot without cold? How would you know the difference?
Right.
So again, that's my point.
That's still going on.
So what now?
It's a part of a system that's still going on because we allow it.
No, that's not a part of the system. That's just the balance of nature. What I'm talking about in terms of
why are we the fall out of that nature?
Like,
why are we that fall out?
So what now?
We don't have to be on the bottom of that.
Yeah, why are we that fall out of that?
No, but that applies to every person, every community. We just said it. You got Shiites and Sunnis. Hell, when you look in the mirror at them, they still look the same to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Russian. Look what's going on right now. Russia and Ukraine. Hell,
Palestine.
I see two.
And then Palestine and Israel. Mm-hmm.
I see two white men fighting. I don't see a Russian and a Ukraine. If I put them side by side of each other, I wouldn't know the damn difference.
Right.
But in our country, the melting pot of the world, it's only focused on Black people. That the violence and all the crime is Black people. I have African staff members who said before they came over here, what they saw on television is they saw us killing each other. So they thought that we was the most violent thing moving over here.
We're treated the way we are when we go to other cultures.
I get it.
They're actually taught that a lot of Africans, I have a lot of Africans as well, they are taught not to fool with us.
Yeah.
That goes into a point. There was a picture posted on social media just yesterday, and it was a picture of a bunch of Black men on the bus. A lot of them had their hoodies on and so on and so forth. And in the caption, it read, "Would you get on the bus?"
Wow.
And again, why as us? We afraid of our own people. We can't even walk in our own communities. It has to start with us.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but answer that question. Why would we not do that? Why would some people not?
So what now?
Why would some people not get on that bus because of that?
Because they're afraid of being
robbed. But why?
Because again, that's the narrative that's been painted, and that's the youth, how they've been raised.
And where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
A lot media. Right, media.
Right.
Right. I think also it goes back to the fulfilling the basic needs. And what we should really look at, I wonder what the statistics were saying with crime when Trump was giving out all those, giving out the money, right? Mm-hmm. And people had certain things to have their needs met, kind of. With a little bit of help. I wonder if the crime went down at all during that time.
You mean the PPL?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
I know retailers, their bank accounts went up. I know the retailers, their bank accounts went up during that time.
But I wonder if crime went down, because that would kind of
well, they had other crime going on.
Many people wonder if there's a secret to winning lottery games. The answer is yes. Winners only Lotto. Discover how to make $1,000, $10,000, or even $225,000 daily by playing the right games with the highest odds. The games to focus on are Pick 3, Pick 4, and in some states, Pick 5. Utilizing AI to track patterns in these games simplifies winning, with millions being distributed every day. This information can be easily verified on any official state lottery website. Join today or get more information by clicking the link below. See you on the winning side.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.